So here we've arrived at a building. I understand it used to be a supermarket of some kind. Don't quite know why it went out of business. Maybe it was taken over by others, like they overtook them in terms of sales. It doesn't look very modern. I'll have to say it's pretty ugly. There's a bit of the roof at the end missing, so that's probably indicative of the rest of the roof not being in too good a condition. I would say it's particularly ugly. Apart from these two sections here, it doesn't have much window space, so it's probably dark on the inside. It does make me wonder whether this would make a good storage facility. And, with a storage facility, you carve them up into 10 by 10, sometimes 10 by 20, or 10 by 5, 5 by 5 units. It's undercover, and then you've got lots of parking outside, which the supermarket needed, but maybe you could offer RV storage here, as an option. Or if it's big enough and cavern enough inside, we should have looked through the window. A lot of people store their RVs outside. If I owned one, I don't. But if I did, I don't think I'd want mine stored outside, where it's in the sun all the time and they put those covers over the wheels to stop the rubber being rotted away. But it's still not good to have them out in the sun and all those temperature spikes, especially here in Utah. It gets hot in the summer, really cold in the winter. So I think having some kind of an indoor storage facility for RVs would be the ticket. I'd have to see what the ceiling height is here. I can see already from here through the window, it's got a suspended ceiling. That wouldn't take much to take out. But if we can't turn it into conventional storage or RV storage or maybe classic car storage or something like that, boat storage, I can't think of any use that springs to mind right now that makes me say, cool. So I'm not going to spend 3 days sweating over it, figuring out what I might do with this, when I could spend those same 3 days checking out the other parts of the area here, because we've seen some pretty interesting buildings that could lend themselves to something that we could put in straight away. I've got a lot of buildings where people look at them and they say, oh my gosh, but it's not appealing, it's ugly. And I say, but the true beauty of real estate is not in the exterior, it's in the balance sheet. So looks don't really matter much when it comes to real estate, it's functionality. What can it generate in rent? I keep coming back to that point. And if we were to turn this into either classic car storage or boat storage or RV storage, there's an advantage in it being ugly. Because if we made it so beautiful that it attracted everyone's attention, you'd have to have more security in place. This is ugly as anything. It's bricks with a few bits of windows. We'd probably get rid of the windows or black them out or something like that. And then no one needs to know what goes on the inside. I think the ceiling height is big enough to bring even RVs in, let alone cars and boats. So I think, now it comes down to what price could we get this ugly old building for? And if no one else has got a use for it, the price might be suitably low. If lots of other people are eyeing it up though, or they want to demolish it and build a fancy 10-story tower, then it might be worth more to them than to me. And I never want to be in competition with someone and fight them for something. I want it to be a good deal where I can buy it at a great price for me, where other people aren't interested in buying it. If there are lots of others interested, I'll let them get it. There's plenty out there. There are more deals out there than you and I could ever look at in 10 lifetimes. So don't sweat it. Just keep looking. It's a numbers game. 100, 10, 3, 1. Every time you look at 100, you might pick up one. If you know that within 2 years they're going to change the zoning, then it's a good idea to try and buy the house if it's still a good price. Buy it then and wait for the change to happen. And usually your rent can go up by 40, 50%. You change from a residential tenant to a commercial one. Well, in the case I mentioned where you found out about it, the city's doing it anyway. And you can go to council meetings, by the way, city meetings, and hear about a zone change and act on it, and it's not insider trading. So it's all street visibility, and I think we're going to come across another one here that looked as though it might have been a home or industrial or something, and I have no idea if it was residential. I suspect it's commercial now, this grey one here on the left. And it could just be a car lot. It's hard to know. No. And then look at that house next door. That was obviously a residence. It would be something that some commercial operator would want at some stage. A back office accounting outfit or a law firm, satellite office, something like that. Well, we were just driving by here and noticed the tall grass. That is one of the symptoms of a place that's no longer in use. Some of the signs have gone. There's still the Hopkins imaging. I noticed a guy behind us is mowing the lawns. I don't know if he's a contract lawn mower or the owner of the property next door, but I'm going to head him up in a minute because you never know what he might know about this property. Yeah, this is on a great location. This is on the state road here. Lots of traffic. You'll probably hear it in the background. A great security. They've got a barrier arm there letting people in. I think it's worth investigating. In fact, I might go and talk to this guy now. Hey there, sir. Excuse me. Do you live here at all? Do you know anything about this building here? It looks as though it's vacant right now.
I think the guy lives there.
But they haven't operated it as a clinic for a while, have they? Yeah.
I don't know
Okay. All right. Well, thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you. See, I've never come across it where people have been reluctant to talk. Turns out he didn't have that much useful information. He wasn't sure about it. He even he ended up saying at the end, I don't know though. But you never know, so always talk to people. Never be reluctant. I've got zero inhibitions when it comes to talking with people. Chances were he was a contract lawnmower, and turns out he actually lives next door. Obviously keeps himself, doesn't really know what's going on. I think this is worth investigating. Ideal location. Windows are all double glazed. It looks in pretty good condition. It just needs a bit of a cleanup. Not even a paint job, just a cleanup with a power wash. So this is another one we're going to put on our list to investigate. Doctor, chiropractor, anything like that. Lots of parking spaces here to be a great clinic. And, fixing that lamp, you'd change it to LED anyway, but the fact that the covers come off that is neither here nor there. It's right in the midst of all this sort of activity that lends itself well, I think, to leasing out. Looks as though it's subdivided into 2 suites. You can see that from the pair of meters there. Yeah, this one's worth investigating, figuring out who owns it and what we can do with it. Came to the worst, you could turn it into homes, but I don't think that would be the optimal use of this one. I think this one's ready to go as commercial. Got the address, I'm going to look it up and see if we can find out who owns it, get in touch with them. There's no one favored way. I'll go online. LoopNet and Crexi are 2 really good ones. But put the word out when you're at the dentist and they say, what do you do? And so, oh, well, a bit of this and a bit of that, I'm trying to stay out of trouble. Instead of that, just say, you know what? I invest in real estate and I'm always on the lookout for a good commercial deal. In fact, if you come across something, let me know. Either add or make it worth your while or infer that or whatever. It's not to say that the dentist's assistant is going to come up with a deal for you next week. But if you say that 50 times, you'll end up buying one property through it.